Every year, hundreds of thousands of people attempt to cross the vast geographic expanses of the central Mediterranean and the Balkan routes. This chart compares two harsh metrics over 5 years: the financial cost paid to cartels and the increasing mortality rate of the crossing. Individuals are paying higher premiums than ever before, while facing a continuously rising statistical probability of death. Take a family living in a heavily bombarded district of a conflict zone. They know the statistics. They know the boats often sink, and the border guards are heavily armed. Why do they willingly choose a path that is mathematically rigged against their survival? Families weighing the risks of a conflict zone find that even a statistically deadly journey offers better odds than remaining in the line of fire. When the risk of staying put escalates, the crossing becomes the statistically sounder option. The process begins with the rapid, often devastating liquidation of a family's generational assets. Homes, land, and heirlooms are sold off in days to generate liquid cash. This infographic illustrates the smuggling shadow economy. Cartels offer pricing tiers for transit safety. Top Dollar buys open deck space with air, while cheaper tickets confine passengers to a locked hull where survival probabilities plummet. Unable to afford safe passage for everyone, families are forced into a brutal calculus of selection. They pool their liquidated resources to send a single person, typically the strongest, hoping that person can establish a legal foothold abroad and eventually pull the rest of the family to safety. That chosen individual immediately faces the physical reality of transit. The first phase requires navigating immense geographic obstacles entirely on foot, carrying whatever possessions remain. This sudden departure represents a strategic investment of a family's entire net worth into a single, fragile human life. As migrants progress, they hit geographic and political choke points where statistical risk peaks. European land borders have become heavily militarized chokeholds. Along the Balkan route, legal asylum claims are frequently met with physical pushbacks. Authorities routinely use force to preemptively expel migrants before any paperwork can be filed. For those attempting the central Mediterranean crossing, the choke point shifts to the engineering failure of the smugglers' vessels. Look closely at the waterline. With zero freeboard, the cheap inflatable material bows under the passenger's weight, lacking any navigation equipment. Standing on the shoreline, the migrant faces a terminal choice: board a visibly unseaworthy craft or turn back and face the armed smugglers demanding they get on. At these exact choke points, human agency disappears. Survival is completely surrendered to the laws of physics, shifting weather patterns, and cartel violence. If they survive the sea crossing, they reach the shores of European entry points like Lesbos or Lampedusa, leaving behind beaches littered with deflated rubber and discarded life jackets. But physical safety brings an abrupt transition into institutional control. Coastal authorities immediately process new arrivals, shifting them from a state of acute physical danger into one of strict governmental oversight. This initiates a secondary choke point. Temporary processing camps often devolve into permanent holding facilities, surrounded by chain-link fences that strip away whatever autonomy the survivors had left. They enter a state of legal limbo. Navigating the European asylum system requires waiting an average of several years for a definitive legal decision on their status. The crossing is the visible result of a much larger equation. As long as the risk at home outweighs the lethal odds of the journey, the calculus of survival keeps pushing individuals toward the European border.